this side of the map. Another big leap. I'm just going to let you go next time and not try to set up that kill.
It's as she comes flying out of her tunnel, and just her little fingers are just like wiggling around like, ah.
You just saw the frustration pings from Cool. 4, 4, and 3. Look at that man's face.
And we talk about how LGD, they do have that emotional facet to them. And, you know, when the emotion is behind them, propelling them forward, that's when they're scary. That's when they're at their most lethal. But in the same token, that double-edged sword, it cuts deep, and it will cut you down starting in the mid lane. Cool is, I mean, he has a reputation as being a bit of a diva, and you start to see those cracks.
Very delicate way of putting that there.
I don't think it was delicate. I think it was right to the point.
But that means that now he's back onto the map. 4, 4, and 3. That massive quadra kill that he picked up earlier has now been completely undone. In large part thanks to Amy attempting to gank and being nowhere near as effective as Clearlove on this map. 9 KPA out of 11. And now finally, look at this. He brings the whole team. Amy, PYL, I don't care what's going on. Clear these wards. I need to be safe.
Get them out of my hair, please. So they are doing a good job just setting up their defensive vision, clearing it out. Scout, though, this guy's an assassin. He's an assassin Orianna player. You know, we always talk about the different identities of Ori players, which is why I love that she's been in the meta for so long, because you can very clearly see the difference between, like, Faker's Orianna, Rookie's Orianna, and Scout's Orianna, just in how they move in a lane. And Scout's, like, hiding behind Fog of War, waiting for you to walk in.
Look at what we're seeing right now. EDG, they are pedal to the metal. They send all 5 members to the top half of the map.
But they're technically going to lose the tower trade. You can then look at PYL and Imp on the bottom. Here we go. So they will pick up the second tower of the game.
They break it right on down. Amy is going to try to clear out some vision on this side. They're even bringing Cool, but that means Rift Herald, which is already up for LGD to work towards. Or, excuse me, EDG to work towards. This is the next target, and there's still another 70 seconds for that Mountain Dragon.
But that's why I love the adaptation from LGD to say, okay, they're going to take top, they're probably going to take Rift Herald, it goes down, but then we then know that a lot of them have committed, so we can push through and try to siege up this inner. And not just try, but do. So, great adaptation from LGD. Both teams playing the map and reading it well.
Mm-hmm. An intelligent play is rewarded. 2 turrets for the 1 of EDG, as iBoy will catch this. However, the second turret is in the back pocket of Clearlove. If you can convert that Rift Herald charge into another one, that'll open up the map even more.
Look at this guy.
That's a Black Cleaver on Clearlove. Rawr.
Rawr.
Alrighty, so Dragon's up in 30 seconds. LGD actually used that time to recall and reset. Imp is now heading towards the top side, along with Amy and PYL. Now they've just been pulled over to head on towards that Dragon, but that does mean that EDG use that window. They move in. Mako leads the charge. He's setting up some vision. Mouse, he's prepped as well.
And the big thing is that they have the arrow. So both these compositions have so many tools to set up pick. The difference is that EDG got in here first. As I say that, though, that arrow actually just went flying
by?
Pretty awkwardly out of the way. I think he was looking for Brand.
Yeah. Not entirely sure. However, they still push onto this Mountain Dragon and are now rushing it down. This is the second Dragon of the game for EDG. And there are a lot of pings onto Imp. He's backing up. Oh, and he makes it out.
Like I said.
It just speaks to the rivalry of these teams.
Also just speaks to Scout's mentality. I love how Scout is defining himself. We talk about this all the time. You know, he's finally out of Pawn and Faker's shadow. He gets to be Scout, primary starting mid laner of EDG. And he's kind of defining himself after his great forefathers. This very aggressive, in-your-face type of player where he kind of demands perfection, or he wants to outplay you. He'll play on the cutting edge of things. And when it works, it looks great. He looks like the MVP leaderboard, which he is right now in the LPL. And when it doesn't work, you're like, Scout, you literally just cost us the game at Rift Rivals. What are you doing?
Oh, God, that Quirky.
Why are you dead? Baron is up!
So much potential. And then he just walked around a corner into 3 people with no vision.
There was literally that moment where they win the team fight. You're like, okay, EDG are going to set up for Baron. It comes out of replay, and Scout is dead behind 2 inhib towers. You're like, why are you there?
How did that even happen? I'm not even mad. I'm impressed at this point. Alrighty, Imp now shows himself up top. You can see the defense from Scout as he holds on to that top tier 1. It's at very low health. There are a few pings towards the mid as Cool is swapping back and forth. Lots of vision from LGD on this side of the map. They've rectified a lot of their weaknesses of the early game, even in this past few minutes, but there are still a few deep boards that we could see a potential teleport to.
But quickly speaking about rectifying weaknesses, check out Imp's itemization right now, and check out his CS. He's above iBoy. He's got his 2 items completed. Of course, iBoy is probably sitting on a lot of gold, so don't take the Hurricane missing on Ashe to be indicative of anything, but Imp has had everything and then some thrown into his lane. Like, of all of the fights, of all of the camping, and yet he still managed to neutralize a lot of that, to build a CS lead.
And just take a look at the faces in the player cams. This is absolute focus, absolute dedication. Usually there's some laughing, there's some smiling. But we're not seeing that today. This is a serious matchup, serious business between LGD and EDG. Flash immediately, no chance.
Video games are serious business, Dom.
Absolutely, yeah.
We don't mess around.
This much pride on the line. Now blue buff has spawned. Cool's going to get the opportunity to pick that up. Finally, iBoy with his recall has finished off Zeal and 2 daggers. So no Runons just yet. We're still seeing Imp set the charge. Clear love.
I couldn't find Herald. I was like, did it disappear? Did he?
He's using it on cooldown here. It was about to expire, and there was no other place for him to really use it.
Well, I can think of a couple of different places that
certainly,
used
but
it.
they didn't quite set up for it, right? Because LGD, they were potentially sieging top. They were swapping towards bottom to keep themselves safe.
It's a compliment to LGD to continue to try to drive tempo and not just give up to EDG and let them roll them over. We talk about LG are a team that live fast, die young. You know, they don't lose games slowly.
No.
They continue to fight from whatever deficit that they're put at. Which works out for them, but naturally EDG could have used that, you know, bottom or sieging an inner tower.
Instead, LGD are covering every single lane, so they catch the one that it is placed in mid as Clear Love just drives by, drops a control ward and leaves. I feel like that's the ending to a bad joke, as Imp now catches this minion wave here in the mid lane. EDG, they're playing around the Baron now that it's up. They've got plenty of vision, they've got plenty of wards stocked up and ready to use. But they're all out of control wards, which means now LGD get to step forward and start trying to contest this vision on their own. How are EDG still getting so many deep teleport wards behind LGD every time?
Why are EDG not on the structure? They have arrow. They can look to fight here. In fact, you see Clearlove flanking over to the side, and there's the deep TP ward you were just talking about.
The arrow tags Imp. Mouse is racing in, but they're going to spot this Maokai from the side. He drops the roots. That's Imp the target. He flashes, exhausted. They're doing the damage, and he goes down. So far, that's one pick as they manage to save it. And Scout, you mentioned it, he drops the Wrecking Ball and finds nothing but net as Banana is going to back away.
It was a good attempt, Scout. I saw what you were going for. Did the job, though. Imp is dead. That's not the pick that they would have liked. Obviously, you would want to kill both the carries, preferably the jungler, so you can rotate into that Baron. But you can see what EDG want to accomplish. It's just kind of minute execution things. And when we talk about, you know, the new iterations of LGD and the new iterations of EDG, you also have to take into their new strengths and weaknesses. So while Cliv and Mako, solid rocks, the spine of EDG, still the players that you're going to look to lead everything, and the explosiveness of Scout, and the stability of Mouse, and the new Prodigy-esque-ness of iBoy, they can't 5v5. EDG...
Well, there we go.
EDG have really been struggling lately to 5v5, and that's a pretty devastating weakness to have when you're in the LPL specifically. So, iBoy, he's Chinese. I know that EDG's comms are kind of a mix between Chinese and English. Obviously, Scout's still on the roster, Zet on the primary roster, 2 Korean speakers. Maybe the 5v5 is because they haven't had the same time that someone like Pawn and Deft had to really synergize themselves with the roster, but this could alleviate some of the things, you know, having 4 Chinese voices in comms.
It very well could. I mean, iBoy, he's 0-1-6 right now. He is keeping even with Imp in terms of CS, only down just a little bit here and there as they keep on maneuvering him around the map. But now it's 30 seconds before that Mountain Dragon spawns. We just saw one attempt from EDG to break the game open as Banana's teleporting in from behind. Shockwave has found Amy and the command attack, but here comes Banana. Don't slip on this as iBoy. He's found Imp, the presence of mind. They lock him down, and again, he's dead. Another RAR brings him to the grave. Banana flashes away as Scout tries to survive. They've tagged onto Cool. They engage onto him. He misses the poison, the protection as well. Meanwhile, they did manage to get the kill as Cool fails his flash and gets spat right back out by Mako. So it's 1 for 2 when it's said and done, but those are the carries of LGD that are dead.
Digested and crushed from Mako. Cool just get some salt in the wound there as EDG are streaming down the mid lane, and with only Jarvan and Brand, it will be an easy break, but without their jungler, they can't immediately turn on the Baron. So LGD, you're still in this, just barely.
Imp, perhaps going to be thinking about that Quicksilver Sash that he's now picked up, finally completed. As, oh man, they had the engage, they had it ready, but iBoy tagged him out in the beginning of that fight through the chaos.
And like you said, it's just great presence of mind as we take another look at this. So check the deep Scout, that's twice in a row, mate. Check out the deep teleport here from Banana. The arrow goes through, they see that LG want to engage, they just don't know from what angle, but luckily they're able to burst out the AD carry before the big engage tools come through from LGD, burn out a lot of flashes as Cliv will actually die to PYL here.
That passive.
But the damage had been done, the Maokai ultimate was used, long range, picked up the Cassiopeia, and so they get 2 kills for their time.
Whoa, we've got Chains of Corruption onto Mako as he flashes away. LGD, they're doing it again. They're right back in the mid lane. This is the 3rd time in a row. They actually come in from behind. That's the arrow onto Amy. Meanwhile, Clearlove is in the back. They've actually killed the turret and the other side. Imp is somehow still alive along with Cool, as Cool is low, finally going down, but Imp catches up. He's found Scout. The Banshees has been popped. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Cocoon and arrow onto Mouse, zone him back. How, like, all right, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But then they go back for it a 3rd time, and they succeed?
These teams, they understand what they want to do. They think it just comes down to execution. And I said LG were barely in this because if they had lost that fight, it would have swung into the Baron, and the game would have been cracked open. But LGD, they plant their fight, and they're like, redo. Let's try that again. This is how this is supposed to go.
This is not sandbox mode, LGD. This is the Pride match. This is where it's all on the line for you.
Reputations come to die here, Dom.
I mean, that's one way of putting it. As 27 minutes into the game, we've had 25 kills. 2,000 gold separates these teams. Actually, 1,500. It's even closer than that. And amazingly, it is all coming down to execution and how these fights are pulling apart. We've seen what happens when the tank gets into the back. We've seen what happens when LGD keep their front to back.
And we've spoken about EDG strengths and weaknesses, their ability to move and control around vision, Clearlove and Mako, particularly making picks, lack of 5v5. LGD, their 5v5 is actually quite strong. They're really good at it. Makes sense. They've got PYL, they have Imp. Cool's brought a lot of responsibility to that and a lot of flavor. And their weaknesses are, I'm not going to say around their vision game, because I think their vision game is quite strong, but what they do with the information gathered by their vision game.
Decision-making?
So
like
we could
broad strokes?
So if we could just take LGD and EDG and smash them into one team.
Oh, man, the 10-man roster. Could you imagine the chaos that would bring?
No, but I distantly hear Rusty, WE.
Now we see the vision war over that Baron. EDG completely controlled this side of the pit, using that strength that you mentioned. We've got teleport ready for Mouse, nearly have that teleport for Banana, but no flash for Cool, which means he's sitting so far back. And everyone's just going to collect a few minions, reset between their waves, allow their cooldowns to circle back around.
And we've got all of our core itemization as well. The AD carries are still waiting on their 3rd damage breakpoint. You can see Imp delayed his because he went for the QSS that you were talking about, whereas Ashe is still just sitting on the 2nd Zeal. But the big thing for me is the Gargoyle Stone Plate completed for Jarvan. We know how ridiculously well that item works with this kit, as well as the Gargoyle Stone Plate and Righteous Glory on Maokai. So very clear-cut identities. Everyone knows what their purpose is. Everyone has the itemization to execute on that purpose. Now it's just about who executes better.
Who's going to do it? And that's what makes this matchup so fun, because the strengths and weaknesses of the team align so almost oppositely of each other. And it does come down to the skill of the players in these massive fights.
The small, intimate moments.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably not going to be the big 5v5 that decides it for EDG, but it will be for LGD.
Something like this is PYL. I mean, his jungler was there, but he still gets caught on a warding mission.
But this is what I was just going to say. If LGD win this game, it's because they win that big, miraculous 5v5. If EDG win the game, it's because of how they manipulate vision, create picks, and open up opportunities like this Baron. Amy's on the backside, though.
Oh, the shockwave, but he repels it. He steals the Baron. I cannot believe it. Bananas found Boy in the back, and LGD, they're winning the fight. They've killed the carry. Mako picks up the Orianna, going to spit him out over the wall, saving the life of his mid laner at the cost of his own. And LGD, It's in those intimate moments.
And here's the thing. I'm sorry, Amy. I didn't mean to compare you to Ning. You definitely redeemed yourself right there. Pressure, back to the wall. You show that you're a veteran of the league. You stay calm and collected under pressure, and you executed the Baron. There was the fight, the Baron, and now the driver's seat for LGD.
They're sieging up in the mid lane and top lane right now. Cool is going 1v2 to keep EDG occupied, while Banana, with his teleport, heads bottom to retrieve that minion wave. As PYL respawns from the graveyard, saying it's all part of the plan.
And again, just so close for execution, but Amy uses the repel, dodges the shockwave, gets into the pit, steals the Baron, and then so many ultimates, particularly the Maokai ultimate, had been used kind of as a shooting from the hip, just a reflex from Mouse, which means that you didn't have those viable ults to slow down the onslaught of all the other LGD members rushing into the fight.
Now that top tier 2 has been broken down, and 31 minutes into the game, it's a 2,500 gold lead for LGD. It has swung right back in their favor. And they've got that buff for a whole 2 minutes now. What do they do with it? Because, well, Baron's great for sieging and macro and sitting up sideways. Doesn't really enhance team fighting so much anymore.
But that's why it's beautiful, Dom, because it helps the one thing that LGD have really been struggling with. Now, their macro game and sidewave control has always been very strong, but for whatever reason, against the top teams, it's just not quite there yet. If this was any middle of the tier pack, or even like RNG or OMG, you would still give it to LGD. But against EDG and WE specifically, that's where they just need to find that cut above their average performance.
They might be trying to go for it right now as they're looking for a pick, but they're on top of a ward. EDG, so good with their vision all across the map. Banana, again, because that tier 2 was broken earlier, he's pushing all the way up to the inhibitor, and Mouse has no teleport. It's a level advantage for Banana and 50 CS as the tanks are going to wet noodle each other.
He can't stop Jarvan, and that's the concerning thing in this matchup at this point. That Jarvan can just walk past him, and like Trundle does to structures, take the structure, and Maokai, just is going to watch it happen.
Yeah, he just takes it down, and now this is Scout and Mako getting pulled over. LGD are actually racing towards him to try to save their Jarvan. He's caught by so much crowd control, knocked out of it, but he turns it around. That's actually cool. And Imp joining the fight. They both get snared. PYL's the first to get free as they manage to lock down Clear Love in the front, and they burn through his health. The Ignite is not quite enough. He survives. But LGD, a man down, are pushing in.
And that was Shockwave and Maokai ultimate used on just the Jarvan to try to kill him. Huge props to Imp that fight, as well as EDG. They may have saved their base, or at least the initial coverings of the base, but LG are starting to break this game further open.
Yeah. That inhibitor turret gone. They will take blue buff on the way out, and there is a Mountain Dragon that's got their name on it, giving them double Mountain against the Mountain Infernal of EDG.
Fine.
And 33 minutes into the game, this is delivering for me so far. I like where this series is going.
It's almost like we knew it was going to be a really brawly, very dirty grudge match between these two orgs.
Absolutely. Now EDG, they're back on the map. They've still got that inhibitor ready. Almost teleport prepped onto Mouse as blue buff is stolen away by Scout, so it's double blue on both of the mid laners. And that is crisp. That is neat. 2,500 gold for LGD.
Feels good on my eyes.
Yeah.
Don't often get that. I feel like we've been getting a lot of like negative 159. You're like, what happened?
My favorite was the -4. It was just like, oh, yeah, great.
You evened out. You flatlined with Baron.
Well done. But now we're back onto the map. We're back to catching these minions. It's Elder Dragon next. It's Baron on the respawn. And it's up to setting up these wards, controlling these sideways.
And Imp is actually a huge deal now. He slowed down a lot of his power spike because he went for the QSS. He's now got that upgraded into Scimitar, and more importantly, and most importantly, he's got the makings of his Mortal Reminder, his armor penetration as well as his Executioner's Calling. So he can actually get through Clear Love and Mouse at this point. So if they fight front to back, which when you have a Cassiopeia standing next to Varus, he's going to be very, very deadly. And for an EDG that have been struggling to 5v5, it gets that much harder now with itemization on LGD's side.
With this final buy, he completes it, and now we are set. A look for that explosive fight. Banana already starting his split push. He's managed to get behind Mouse. He's currently just sitting.
So this is what we need. We need Scout to hit actually hit a target with Shockwave, preferably more than one, and preferably the 2 squishy carries. We need iBoy to continue these arrows. Been pretty meant with that. We need Clear Love to not chase Brand. We need these three things. LGD fans, you just need Imp to go crazy.
Yes.
That's all anyone ever wants.
The classic, yeah. Now they're starting to push forward. They managed to get a little bit of harass onto him, just burning away that health. Amy takes a few shots, and they're able to finish off the Tier 2, seeing Scout in the top lane. Now we've got teleport ready for Mouse, and there are a lot of wards behind LGD.
But Baron is up in 1 minute 14, and I don't think any team is going to take that risk to overextend themselves and die with a death timer right up to that monster objective.
Speaking of death, LGD are trying to add one to the tally as they were chasing Mouse down in that bottom lane.
He's just padding his stats. He's like, I gotta get a bit more damage to champions. Maokai, just come here for 10 minutes.
Just hold on. You can heal it up. I'll let you hit me.
Just gonna whittle out some firewood here.
At the very least, attempt to, but it's 50 seconds before that dragon is up, and there is a single ward next to the pit for LGD. Perhaps knowledge of their opponents coming in handy this time. It's no Dan Gaming that they're fighting against. They don't have to worry about a quick Baron rush from EDG. And 36 minutes into the game, Imp will pick up his red buff. We're now seeing the Staff of the Seraphim completed, plus a Void Staff on top of that, haunting guys. We're almost at that 6-item Cassiopeia stage. Level 17.
Looking at Brand's items right now. He's got his Rylai's, he has his Leandries. It's actually going to hurt pretty significantly, especially iBoy and Scout. Mostly Scout.
Two squishy members, going to take a lot of damage. Now, Clear Love pushing in, along with the rest of EDG. The Baron has spawned, and we've returned to that position, but it's Banana flanking from the side. Might have gone too far as EDG reposition. Mouse steps in to join up with the rest of his team.
EDG were in a very similar scenario as the arrow whiffs.
Fires across, but now there are pings from LGD. Amy on the side misses his cocoon as well.
And naturally, EDG have to give up so much pressure around the Baron pit because they don't have that pivotal cooldown. Now, very short, especially because iBoy is level 16, so has all 3 points in the ultimate. They don't want to give up position, but they definitely need to be much more respectful of EDG. Excuse me, LGD.
And that's what we see from LGD as well. They're just moving
Mouse.
backwards and forwards. It's like you're trying to train a puppy. No, bad.
You can see Banana flirting with him.
He's thinking about it. Almost always is.
I'm here for scale.
Amy just walked up.
Oh, no.
The shockwave finds two. Imp and UIL, they're firing across the back along with Cool. Getting a lot of damage onto Mouse. Imp nary untouched, so too is Cool. But the tanks will just pull back and disengage. All right, this is the pre-fight fight.
But that's 3 big ultimates on EDG and only 1 big ultimate on LGD. Ash Arrow, Shockwave, as well as Maokai ult not available, whereas only Varus' ultimate was used in response, which is why LGD still super keen to fight.
They've got that teleport ready for Mouse. They've got a massive wave building up top that Mouse is heading towards. There's a wave pushing into them bottom as they clear out vision around this Baron, just playing with the darkness.
Okay, here comes the Ash Arrow.
It's just about off cooldown. Finally ticks over. He's got it.
He's not going to immediately throw it.
I would.
Oh, I know, Dom.
All right, there. Perhaps baiting some recalls. Dashing in. Banana forces the fight. Teleport as he goes in. Let's see, where's Imp? He's trying to make his way into the back, but he's got to get through Mouse. Cool is burning through his health so quickly. The cocoon misses. Shockwave has found Imp and Cool. He cleanses. The arrow tanked by Banana, but Imp is very low health with no sums.
Okay. Now we're getting spicy. That was much better that time around from EDG, making sure that they hit pivotal and key targets with key cooldowns. The arrow just barely grabbed by Banana. That would have spelled almost certain death for one of the 2 carries.
Now, Elder Dragon is up in 15 seconds, and EDG are still playing around this Baron. They staggered their recalls, but Abyssal Voyage gets them there so quick. Banana's got his teleport. Not sure that was entirely on purpose, as iBoy's now chunked down to half.
Random stray bolts. Definitely hit it, but we'll pretend.
That was Mako who tagged onto it. He was just,
delicious.
Yes, Baron Calamari. All right, the wave is now prepped bottom, but EDG are already starting the Baron. They are calling the bluff here. They know Banana's not there quite yet.
Oh, teleport from the side, Amy.
Yes, this is Banana trying to get in. Amy's in the front. He repels, but he's got nowhere to go to. He drops right down and barely sidesteps the snare. Banana still goes in. He's got no follow-up. Banana, slow down, man.
That Maokai ultimate just shaved a little off the back from Elise there.
Keeping it smooth. An immediate flash respect from Mouse. Banana goes in. He gets the knockup. That's Scout. Boy's not there. Cool gets in with the petrifying gaze. The arrow tags Amy as Imp is still shooting across. And now Cool turns onto Boy. He flashes over the wall. His Hex Drinker is immediately popped as Banana follows through. Still no deaths, though the arrow brings it close.
Ooh, take meta. No one dies. We're okay. Wiggle away, but LGD, they have the superior health bars, which is why they're turning onto the Baron right now, and it is 40 minutes into this game. EDG, they have no response. It's gone.
Baron picked up by LGD, pings onto the Elder Dragon. They've already got bottom lane prepped. They don't have any vision on that side, but they don't quite need it yet.
Yeah, but they could also just pressure the waves forward, take the inhib, move down into the Elder. So LGD have a very clear-cut blueprint about how they're going to clean out and close this game. EDG, backs against the wall. You had it in the mid-game, and now suddenly everything looks like a disaster.
LGD steps in. As a collective unit, they move forward, and EDG immediately, they just know, all right, they're not going to push the lane. They're not going to take it slow and use the Baron buff. They're going to fight it at Elder Dragon. Let's match it. Actually, the two carries are split off on the other side of the map, and the arrow, it's not quite on cooldown
It's
yet.
because they're prioritizing trying to get that mid-wave pushing for them. As Mouse.
It's going to be chunked down. There's the Brand Burn, slowly whittling him away. Amy drops the Cocoon. They're fighting over Scuttle. That's Smite from Amy. The full duration recharge. He doesn't have another one stacked up.
I feel like that was a bit of a reflex.
Luckily, though, he is Elise. He does have the execution with his Venomous Bite.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
They're still just moving around, though, just playing this dance of death. LGD are now moving towards the mid lane. Imp, Amy, and PYL catch up with Cool and Banana, and they've got the fast track onto this inhibitor turret.
This is also exactly where Maokai actually wants to use his ultimate, from areas like this where you can get a nice side, wide flank on teams.
You can see Mouse was looking for it. The top tier 2 goes down, and LGD, they don't care about the siege. They don't want the long-term objective. They want this Elder Dragon, and they are going to take it. Smite is back off cooldown for Banana, and they, with Double Mountain, are doing a lot of work, a lot of shred, a lot of penetration, and it goes down.
That was your time, Clear Love, to try to show and one-up Amy, but... Oh, that's slow. He's in!
Flash Cataclysm. Banana forces the fight. Shockwave onto himself. Cool tanks it, so then Imp can continue fighting through, and now Clear Love is dead. LGD, they find a kill. They've got Double Elder. Double Mountain with that Elder, but they do have to defend their inhibitor from a massive minion wave.
Which is why EDG are trying to do everything that they can safely to stop a lot of these recalls. But Imp finally gets his. He's deep enough down the lane, so they will clean up all these.
Going straight for the red buff. Priorities. I love it.
He's fine. Banana's there.
Minion's going to give me combat stats? Am I 6 items? Yes. No! I need red buff. That gives me combat stats. Alrighty.
He needs to kill people, Dom.
Absolutely. Baron, only 60 seconds left. They've not taken a single thing with it outside of that Elder Dragon, and that has an even shorter cooldown.
Well, they killed Clear Love. And if you're going to send any message...
That's the one.
Literally, like, what's in the box?
I drink your milkshake, sir. I drink it right up.
That's the message I would send to EDG. I wouldn't kill anyone on the team but Clear Love, and I'd just watch them crumble around him.
I mean, he has got the most deaths right now. 9, 5, and 5. He also has the most kills. So, grain of salt.
I was going to say, don't you be manipulating those stats. Don't you only show half the picture. This fake news. Look at that. He's 9, 5, and 5.
This is relevant. We are keeping track. All right, Baron buff has now fallen off of some of these members here. Looks like we've got a bit of extended duration from LGD. Elder Dragon, about to time out as well. Only about 45, 50 seconds left. Banana, he's prepping bottom, and he's still pretty big, but then again, so is everyone else at 44 minutes into the game.
We've got all our core items. It's about the tricks and the traps that both teams are trying to play. What they're trying to do is use the Tremor Sense from Rek'Sai, and then from Fog of War, either catch someone with that cheeky arrow Shockwave, and the immediate burst. So this is why PYL and Amp are like stuck to that wall and just slinking along it.
He's got his own theme music. Ooh, they've almost got the inhibitor broken down. They actually break through the Banshee's Veil, but Clear Love's potential flank makes it so risky. Banana's got to step in with his next minion wave, but EDG are ready. That's the Righteous Glory. Clearlove goes in, Mouse. He's found Banana. The arrow tags on the PYL. Imp and Cool kite through the snare. There's the shockwave. Amy is dead. Clearlove into the back. He's about to kill PYL. They get him. It's support versus support. And now Imp is firing across. He's actually popped the GA of that driver in the back line as well. And he's down. It's 2 versus 5.
And I said front to back that LGD would have it, but EDG proved me wrong. They stand strong. They have great target selection. No one gets split up from each other. They hunker down. They're holding hands. And they basically just played Red Rover with LGD.
Yeah.
Jarvan flew into the back, just got clotheslined, immediately went down.
Then they chased forward, grabbed PYL, and pulled him to the grave as well. And Scout, you can see what an instrumental difference it makes when you land your shockwave.
I mean, that's the thing. It's 45 minutes in. This game, I mean, yes, EDG have been struggling with team fighting, but if Scout just gets lucky or if he finds that shockwave, game over.
The Orianna damage is pretty big. 45 minutes in, EDG used this opportunity to reset the map, clear out the vision.
And that is actually one of the benefits, while we're on this topic. Yeah. Cassiopeia, Varus, kind of low mobility, sit in the back. You know, it's hard for them if they don't have flash, that if Orianna times that ball correctly or if she gets it back there, they're going to eat it. They're going to die. They don't have any dash to reset their position. So,
Cool's actually recalling right now. His 6th item is an elixir of sorcery, which he has now consumed and traded for a needlessly large rod. So he is expecting to fight within the next few minutes because there's really not too much else he can buy with 1 item slot.
I have a sneaking suspicion that we are going to fight in 1 minute and 1 second.
Yes, that large
now
thing that is
56,
respawning. Yeah, it's good. No,
55.
I see the timer.
Okay.
I have used a microwave before. I know how this works.
I can tell that you used a lot of microwaves.
Yeah, you reckon? Thanks, Frosk. Now LGD find themselves back in the same position. Cool hanging out inside of vision. Oh, this is dangerous. Dangerous territory. Bananas, he's split pushing. Mouse has got teleport. He's going to have to lumber over to match that.
I feel like we haven't got enough good banana references.
I burned them all yesterday in the first few minutes.
I'm still waiting for scale. It's got to somewhere.
Banana for scale.
Somewhere to slot in.
Oh man, he's so big. Everything else looks small in comparison. Banana for scale. Now, the arrow passes through. He's grouped up with his team. Cocoon on to Mako, but he does have his Merc treads.
Check out where Mouse is right now. He's sitting on spawn, making sure that he can get home guards for one of those flanking wards, and multiple of them have pinged around the wolf camp.
He's pulling back, thinking about it. His finger is hovering the button. He's looking at the ward right now. EDG are going to force the issue. They turn on to the Baron, and LGD are moving in. There's the teleport. This is a fight.
But that's very deep and pretty far away. It's going to get really far underneath Imp. He could just get to the back line.
And he stole it again! That's his 2nd Baron of the game that he's stolen away. And he will die to iBoy. That's PYL dropping as well. Now it's up to Imp and Cool. They flash in. They found onto Imp. He flashes the wall to keep himself safe. Now Cool is split. The shockwave follow-up from Scout locks him down. Baron or no, it's 5 versus 2 as Banana flashes a long leap from Clearlove. And there he finally goes. Cool. 1 versus 5. Welcome to LGD. Can you hold the fort?
Yeah, that's the one-man army and just the Baroned up creeps. For sure, though, it's going to be an inhib, but if they catch Cool, it will be the game. I don't even know if the Snake's presence will stop them. Look at how quickly they are shredding through these objectives.
They've got a massive minion wave up top.
They're going for it.
They're going right in. The arrow is sidestepped, but Cool backs up to the Fountain Flash knock up. And it's going to be in a team fight that EDG find themselves the win and take game number 1 here over LGD as they polish off this last kill just for a little bit of feel-good moments.
And this is why I put Mouse in the S tier. He is the ultimate